Hello, everyone. So today I'm going to review two games played by double-digit Q players. This is not a level that I'm really familiar with teaching, so this will be a learning experience for me, and hopefully I can improve over time. Just let me know in the comments what you thought I did right, what you think I can improve on, and well, let's get started. Okay, so the main mistakes that I normally see in like double-digit Q games would be like following the opponent around too much, and then just opening mistakes. So I will try to focus on those for this video, and we'll get started with the first game. These games are from double-digit Q games. They're normally on the I guess the higher end of double-digit Q. They're like around 13Q to 10Q. Okay, so far everything's okay. This is probably like one of the first little mistakes, but not a big deal. Baiting in the corner. Normally you would want to play these approach moves first, because he already has two stones here, so normally you want to play in the more open areas. So here he kind of is alive, and black gets the outside. And normally in the opening it's corners, then sides, then center. And so I would think approaching this corner would be a little bit better than playing here. And then for sure, this is just too small. Normally in the open you want to play on the biggest sides. So there's this side and this side, which is the biggest. This would be the next biggest, but you can see that this is smaller than these. So black should be approaching here or trying to do something in the corner. And then here you can see they just invade right away, when clearly approaching is bigger. So I don't know if this is more of just following your opponent around or just not knowing where to play. So here you can see white just kind of gets into trouble. Black connects under, that's good. And then here you can see this move doesn't really have any effect. Like, say black Tanukis. If he pushes, then black is just connected. So playing here again is just, I think white thought he needed to play locally, when really he can play in the open area. And black responds. So again, I'm not sure if that's because he thought there was something here, or if he was just thinking just locally, like my opponent played here, so now I need to play here. But if you just look a little closely, you should be able to tell there's nothing there, and then you can Tanuki and play on one of the bigger sides. And white runs out here, which again, corner is bigger. And then he extends here. This group is fine. So there's really no reason to play here. It doesn't look like he's trying to attack or anything. So again, it just feels like a misunderstanding on what to do in the opening. It just feels like he's like, okay, white played in this area, so I also need to play in this area. And I think one of the steps of getting to single digit Q is realizing that you can Tanuki and play in different areas. You don't have to always play where your opponent plays. Okay, so he runs out here. Okay, this is the right idea. He's just approaching the corner. while also trying to grow the side. But again, you want to look at the wider sides. This is very small, and then these sides are much wider. And in the opening, you always want to try and play in the biggest areas. Okay. So here, I don't know if it's he just wasn't sure what to do here, or if he was jealous of this area. But a lot of times you just back off here, and you can play Joseki, and white gets an area, black gets an area, and then you can move on to the biggest areas on the board. Okay, so he goes for the corner. White runs out. So here, because there's weak groups, it makes sense to play locally. He defends cutting points. At this point, though, again, I'm not very familiar with DDK games, but I would assume that a double-digit Q would be able to see there's two eyes here, because you can see there's lots of space here and here. If you can't tell that, then I feel like that's something you need to work on. Is just knowing when you're alive, when you have two eyes. And then here you should clearly be able to see like this is just too small. And again, playing corners or even on the sides is bigger. Okay, he responded locally. But like even here, corner is bigger. Even if black takes everything, it's very small. And white gets to play somewhere else. And here feels like it's just I'm not sure what this is. It feels like he's trying to either kill, and then he goes back and tries to live. Okay, he goes and he does Tanuki and tries to play on the bigger area. But when it's a 4/4 stone, normally you don't approach high, you approach low. But the idea was right. Okay. So again, I'm not sure if this is jealousy, where he's just like, okay, white's gonna make points here, so I need to reduce it. Uh, but really, if black just backs off here, you can see white gets this area, but it's still not 100% safe because he hasn't surrounded it yet. But black's area is just as big, so there's no need to be jealous of it. You can just, you take your area, they take theirs. So here you can see black still needs to add a move here to live. And now this corner that was supposed to be black's was taken away. And this is quite big. And this now looks much bigger than what he was trying to take. So again, I feel like this is the jealousy thing. Or it could be he just doesn't realize that this can't live because the area is too small. Okay, so here it feels like black should realize that this can't get two eyes. This is pretty much safe because it can get an eye here or maybe over here, or it can connect down here. So now you should be looking at where the biggest area is. And the biggest area would be this side over here. But it feels like he just wants to keep playing locally. Same with white. I feel like if you look carefully, you should be able to see that black can't cut here. Because you can just Atari and connect, and everything is okay. So he plays here, and then black jumps again. Again, this was not really needed, but it is going in the right direction. Again, white here feels like he needs to respond locally because black played here, but like this group is pretty safe, so he could be playing in a bigger area, like expanding from this corner. Hmm. Okay. So now black, I think, finally realized that white is getting a big area over here, but he does it a little bit late because now white has a bunch of stones here that can help fight. So before playing all these moves, which don't really help him do much, he could have already played over here, and then it would have been much easier. I guess he was worried about making sure this was dead. And now he tries to kill, but it's not too helpful. I feel like that's probably all we can really learn from that game, mostly just the opening stuff. So we'll move on to the next game. Okay, so here you can see instead of playing in the corner, he just plays this move here. So open corners are very big, which is why normally you'll see both players will occupy the corner. Both players will occupy the corner before doing anything else. Okay, and again here, he's playing in this very small area. Again, I'm not sure if this is jealousy, where he's just like, okay, black's trying to take this area, so I need to jump in there. Not realizing that just, again, both players can take their corners and play like this, and then the game is fine. Okay, so here I think you see black took a lot of points in the corner, and white is just a weak group. So here I feel like might be the following your opponent around thing. Like this is perfectly fine. It's out into the center, not surrounded. Uh, this is pretty much fine. So now would be the time to Tanuki and take one of the corners. But instead he plays locally and gives his opponent a chance to take a corner instead. But instead he just again plays locally, which this doesn't really do much. Like this is already alive, so no point in surrounding. So open corners. And black again just plays locally. And they just keep playing locally. Yeah, so it almost feels like they just don't realize you can just play somewhere else. You don't always have to play where your opponent plays or close by. Like even here, like this was all fine. I feel like when you first start trying to Tanuki more, bad things probably will happen. Like things might die because you miss something or you don't realize something. But to improve, you have to start trying to play in bigger areas before your opponents. And if you make mistakes, you learn from them. But like even here, it just feels like they're both stuck in this area. Because like even here, like this is just a strong group, and they just kind of forget the rest of the board exists. And it seems like it just kind of keeps going like that. Hmm. Yeah, like this move again doesn't really do much. He's just stuck. And seems his opponent is as well, so they just keep playing locally. Okay, so this is still, I think, kind of local, but it is a better idea than the ones over here because at least he's expanding from his corner. But at the same time, these corners are still open. Although this one's kind of closed because white does have some stones here, so this would be the biggest open corner. Okay, he defends there, which he didn't have to. And again, they kind of just get stuck in this area still. And white is just very stuck. Because I feel like one of the first things you learn is about eyes. So it feels like you should know there's an eye here. This one is false if black plays here, but there's an eye here, and there should at least be one other eye here. And you don't need three eyes to live. So here would be the perfect time to Tanuki and play in a different corner. But instead, he gets stuck in that local mindset, and black is doing the same. It's been a while since I've been DDK, so but I feel like if you just kind of look at this for a little bit, you should be able to realize if he Atari's here, you connect, he goes down, and then you can capture it with this one. Okay, still locally. And even here, when they play on the first line like this, the only way you need to respond is if you can't get two eyes. So you should look at your eye shape. You should see you have one eye here, and even if they jump in, you can probably get another. But more importantly, you should see that you're connected to the outside and you're not surrounded. So again, not important to respond locally to this. It's too small this early. But they both respond locally, and then they keep responding locally. So I think that's the main thing that I've noticed in DDK games is they just get stuck in these local positions and they don't know. I don't think they realize they can Tanuki or they feel like they have to respond. I'm not sure why that is, but I do think it's something that to get to single digit Q, it's something you have to break and improve. Okay, black finally did play in a different area, but still it kind of feels like it might be kind of local, like it's all these group of stones. So I'm not sure if he's jealous of white getting this area or if he's trying to attack. Um, but the most open area on the board would obviously be this corner over here. But still, it's a better idea because he's taking the corner. Okay, so again, he's kind of stuck local. Again, you can just go to this corner. And again, this could be the being greedy of your opponent's area, or it could just be feeling you have to play locally. And again, like this move, I feel like single digit Q players will be able to realize that this doesn't really do anything. It's not really needed. Okay. So this one I think is more in the realm of jealousy. Like he sees black has all these stones here, so he's trying to reduce it. But if he just, takes the open corner, he's getting more than what he's reducing here. Okay. So he finally takes the corner. Okay, so here I definitely feel like you should be able to realize that there's plenty of eyes here. And then you're also connected to which this also has eyes. So you don't really need to follow your opponent just because they play here. You can just Tanuki, play something that's much bigger. Because this one's protecting like maybe two, three at the maximum, and that's all the points you get. While playing moves over here is worth like 10 plus. Okay. Again, another local move. So I feel like they both kind of got stuck in this local area again. Okay, he does Tanuki. So like just based on this, I would assume black wins because it feels like he's getting the bigger areas a little bit quicker than white is. Okay, and then again, this could be the jealousy thing, but it could also just be my opponent played here, so I need to play in the same area. But he doesn't have to. Like playing over here or in the corner, any of those would be bigger. Okay. So the corner is already pretty solid. White can't really do much. So again, you can just Tanuki. Okay, but if again it feels like they're gonna get stuck in this area. They normally get stuck for like what seems like 5 to 10 moves, and then that's when they finally realize they can play in a different area. Okay, so again, I'm not sure if this is just stuck locally or if he's afraid this doesn't have two eyes. So like, I'm sorry if I'm just not, I can't remember what it's like to be DDK, so I'm not really sure I understand this move. Like, I don't know if this is just playing locally or if he's scared that he's not making eyes or needs to make eyes somehow, but um, based on what I remember about DDK, I feel like when you learn the basic rules about eye shape, I feel like you should be able to tell that there's plenty of eyes here. But please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. This review might not be that good, but I definitely want to improve and be able to teach at this level as well as single digit Q and like low Don level. So definitely let me know what you think I got right and what I got wrong and what you think I can improve. Okay. Okay, so again, they're both kind of stuck in that local area. And then white was the first time he Tanuki'd, I think. And he played in the corner. When you have a 4/4 stone like that, you don't have to be this safe. You can just expand like this. Like the most common shapes that you will see, so you can, if we just ignore everything else, is you can do a 1 space jump, 2 space jump, a Kasumi, and a Knight's move, and a large Knight's move. Those would be the most common things. And when you're approaching a stone, it's kind of similar. There's like the 1 space approach, 1 space Knight move approach, might be called. I'm not sure of the names. You can do 2 space approach, 2 space Knight's approach. Then there's also like the attach and the shoulder hit. And with black, there's also the extend and Kasumi. So like most situations, you're going to be playing one of those moves if it's a local response. And normally when you do, you want to play the most efficient one. So before you think about moves like this, you should be considering the 2 space or like this. And then if you think that's a little bit too weak, then you will next think about this one and this one. And then if you really need to, that's when you start going really close. But those should be the last things that you think of. Okay, so like again here, first things you should have thought of would be like this one or this one. And if he thinks the corner is still too weak because those are too far, then you look at the closer ones, which this one should be a good balance between the outside and the corner. Okay, he invades, which at this point this area is very big, so it's reasonable. But if they were both playing more the open sides earlier, then this area never would have got this big. Okay. Okay, this definitely feels like a jealousy thing. He sees his opponent is getting all these points, and so he immediately just tries to jump in. But really, just getting this group out would probably be good enough. Okay, so he saw he had two eyes. And again, it feels like he just felt the need to play locally here, which maybe he's worried about this cut. But I feel like, let me see how much time he spent on this. He spent 2 seconds on this move. So I feel like if he just took a few more seconds and he like read, okay, if they cut here, I defend. Uh, Now there's really nothing because like this is out, the corner's pretty good, and if he does, I can just kill. Which I feel like, again, not sure, but I feel like if you spend some time on that and learn that, it's not too difficult to read those few moves. Or even if he just read, he goes here and I connect, then I feel like that'd be good enough. And that's probably it for the opening. So I'll probably stop here. Again, this is not a level I normally teach at, so I have a lot to improve. So definitely help me out with that, and I'll over time I hopefully will get better at it. And thank you for watching.